Many thanks to Jesus and Mother Mary that I am able to stand here to say a big thank you to Mother Mary and Jesus. My name is Steffi, my husband's name is Abby, and my child is Luca. We reside in Atlanta, US. So the first time that I physically came and took the covenant prayer was in 2020, and then I had to leave to US for good, and I could not come back to say thanks for the many blessings that I received. But during this phase, thankfully there was this provision of online Udambadi, the covenant prayer, and I was adhering to the online covenant prayer. The biggest blessing that I got in my life was my child, who was born last year in November. So what happened with me was that my amniotic fluid, I had an amniotic fluid leak at the 29th week. So many of you would know when there's a leak at the 29th week and when you are rushed into the hospital, the doctor told me that my child would come in the next 3 or 4 days or maximum in 1 week. And I was very scared because I knew all the complications that could have come to my child, like multiple organ failures or other fatalities, or even if nothing, my child would be admitted to the NICU and have NICU bone diseases. So I was very scared, and because I was in the covenant prayer, I held on to the Mother Mary's Kasharubam, and I was really crying and praying. And somehow, because of all the prayers, after the first 1 week, I was admitted in the hospital immediately. And even after 1 week, my situation was stable. And the second week, my situation was stable. And every day during the hospital rounds, the doctor would come and ask, "Oh, so you are still here? Oh, you are still here." So they were very surprised because all the other patients, they were rushed to the operation theaters immediately. And even after the second and third week, I was still in the hospital bed being stable. So after a while, the doctor was like, "Oh, because you are stable, why to take risk and have complications further? So if you are continuing to be stable, we'll take out the child at the 34th week." So in my head, I was like, so if the child is stable till the 34th week, why do you want to take the child out at the 34th week? Why can't I have this child inside me and continue to have, the full-term labor? But that was their policy, or that is how the medical system works, and they were very adamant about it. And somehow in my heart, I believed that through Mother Mary and Jesus that I could keep this child longer. But then, obviously, there is this dilemma that if I disagree and if I go past 34 and then if some complications happen to this child, then the hospital is going to tell me that, "Oh, you kept this child inside. We told you to take out the child at the 34th week. That is why perhaps some very bad thing happened to your child." So I cried a lot that day, and I prayed. I said the Kreupasanam Marian prayer, and I told Mother Mary, to fight with the doctors, I need a very clear number, whether it is 34, whether it is 35, whether it is 36. I need a clear number, and I don't need the answer tomorrow, because today is what I need. So you have to give me the answer today. So I prayed for 1 hour. I was alone in the hospital at that time. Then I opened the Bible. I said, I'm going to open the Bible, and in that Bible verse, you have to show me the number. So when I cried a lot, and after prayer, when I opened to the second Deuteronomy, that's in the Old Testament. It talks about a king. So I had to read through quite a lot to reach that phrase where this king, it is written in the Bible that till 35 years, there was no problem in his kingdom, but issues started in his kingdom from the 36th year. So at that moment, it was like a lightning or a thunder struck for me, because I prayed to God. I don't know, I never received something like that immediately, and I asked for an immediate favor, and I saw this number 35 and 36. So I told the doctor that I am anyways prepared to go beyond 35. So let's fix a day past 35 for me to induce. So doctor gave me a certain date and said, okay, we are going to induce you on a day past 35 weeks. But what happened to me naturally was just like how it was written in that Bible verse. Till 35 weeks, I was a very stable patient. I had no issues at all. But as written in the Bible, from the 36th year that king had issues, I naturally started contracting after the 35 weeks. So even if the doctor hadn't induced me, my child would have anyway come out somewhere in the middle of the 36th weeks. And he came out all fine, from where he could have had multiple organ fatalities or multiple organ issues or any other bad things that you can think of. My child came out without even a scratch on his, like he was perfectly all right. He had that was, like, I'm really thankful. I cannot explain enough. I'm really thankful to Mother Mary and Jesus for this immense blessing in my life. And my son's name is Luca, and in another 2 months, it's going to be his first birthday. There are many other blessings that I have received through this covenant prayer. So once I went to the US, so I had difficulty in documentation to get my green card, but that was another, if I have to stand here, I can stand here and explain for one whole day, but that came immediately, miraculously, and I got my green card. So when I got my green card, I had, in man's limitations, we think, I am a pharma professional, and I was working here in India, and I had a salary in my mind. God, if you give me this salary, I'm very grateful. Like, this is what I want. But I gave interviews and I quickly got a job, a very good job, and God gave me more than double the salary that I prayed for, and He blessed me with that. Then my husband, I kept his job and his difficulties in the covenant prayer, and he got multiple promotions in his job. Then the other blessings were the property sale of my dad and my father-in-law as well. So there are immense blessings. There are so many other blessings that I have received, and I actually believe that, for me personally, I believe that the covenant prayer is a way of life. So because it doesn't ask us anything else rather than to read the Bible, to stay committed to God, or to do good things for yourselves and for others, to speak wisely, things like that. So I really believe that the covenant prayer is just a lifestyle, so which I have been able to, and it has given me such a pure connection with God. So I'm very thankful, and I'm very thankful to Mother Mary and Jesus. So before I came into this covenant prayer, it was my mother who used to force me, okay, sit and pray, and as many people of my age would relate, like I was like, a Sunday Christian who would go that way. But after I entered into this covenant prayer, in many things, maybe it is my life experiences which connected me so much with God, and this prayer which gave me so much of strength to move forward in my trials, that today I can say that I have that spiritual connection with God, and and I can feel His presence guiding us. And there have been many incidences, like recently we had a very major accident as well. Sorry, I forgot to say that, but we were miraculously saved during, and again my son did not even have a scar that time. So I think all this is because we are very connected, and we feel that spiritual connection with God.
The testimony which we heard right now is all about the covenant and the communication. Especially all the testimonies here, we say, they have always say they read Bible and they get the answer for their questions or for their situations, pertaining to the situations. In the covenant, what happened, we can understand that when we are in covenant, we prepare ourselves in a conducive atmosphere so that the God can easily communicate to us through Bible or through any prayers or messages or through any dreams. In all the testimonies, if you check in the YouTube, you can understand there is a connection occurred with God and the person who took the covenant, and that is clearly communicates what God wants and what God intends him or her to do. The main thing, God will give his presence so that she or he may can go ahead with the situations. In this situation also, she refers such a situation where she opens the Bible and she gets a clear cut and a proper to the point answer to her query or to her prayers. And as well as he concluded the testimony, she said she could regain the connection between the God through covenant prayer. So the success of the prayer is not some material things that we get. The success of the covenant prayer relies or depends upon how much a man can connect with the God. So as that regard, this testimonial should really help us to have connection with God and to prepare ourselves so that God can communicate to us. Let's give thanks to the Lord by clapping our hands together.